Hi guys, welcome back to Planet Ascension. Today we're going to be making one of my favorite recipes. It's a Kimchi Jjigae, which is kimchi stew. So we're going to be making it from scratch. We're going to be using kimchi that I actually made myself, but you can use any kimchi. I recommend kimchi that's a little bit older, a little bit more fermented, and a little bit more sour. I think it tastes a little bit better. What you do is you first make a soup stock, which is like a veggie broth, and then you go ahead and you make the stew, and it's really simple. Everything goes like in one pot. Doesn't take very long, and I'm gonna walk you guys through how to make the soup stock first. You drain that and then use that as your liquid for the stew, and it'll be really tasty. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, so to make the soup stock, you're gonna need some of the tips, the roots of green onions or scallions. There's really no right or wrong amount. I use about this much because they're actually really skinny, but if you have like thicker ones, you don't have to use as many. Use a piece of either a daikon radish, or actually have a turnip here that I peeled because I didn't have any daikon. And this is probably like a third of a turnip. And then also you're gonna wanna have a seaweed, either kelp or kombu. Like dulse or the seaweed nori type seaweeds won't work well on this recipe. It's actually really hard. Like if you feel it, you can snap it. So I don't really know exactly how much to say that this is, but just kind of like a similar amount that you eyeball. So I'm just gonna throw it into the pot here so you guys can kind of get an idea of how much it is. And I just have like 2 sheets of it right here. And you can just throw it in whole, you can break it up, it really doesn't matter because this is all gonna get strained out anyways. So you can go ahead and throw in the green onions. And then I'm just gonna chop up the turnip into maybe a few more smaller pieces and then add the water, and then we'll turn on the heat. So once everything is in your pot, you're gonna go ahead and add 4 cups of water, which I already did. Throw on your cover, and on about medium to high heat, let that go for about 20 minutes, and then come back and check on it. Okay, so after the 20 minutes are up, you're just gonna pour it through a strainer, that you reserve all of the broth in here, and you're just gonna set that aside for the minute. And then all the things that are in here you can either discard or use for a different recipe. Typically kombu or kelp isn't used afterwards because still, even when it's boiled and cooked, it's still really hard and not really tasty. So yeah, do whatever you'd like with that, but put this aside for now, and then go ahead and grab your kimchi out. Okay, so on a cutting board, or you can put it directly into the pot if you want to. I just wanted to put it here so you can see it a little bit better. But we've got about 2 cups of kimchi here, and we're also gonna reserve about a 1/4 cup of kimchi juice as well. And then we're gonna be using grapeseed oil, but you can use any oil that you want to. In Kimchi Jjigae, which is the stew, typically they use pork belly in this. And since this is a vegan version, you kind of want to have some kind of form of fat. So you want to use either like an olive oil, grapeseed oil. Some people use butter, so you can use Earth Balance as well. I don't have that here, so I'm going to be using grapeseed oil. So you're going to put just a little bit into the pot here, and then go ahead and add your kimchi, but leave the liquid on the side for now. Over medium heat, you're gonna add the kimchi as well as like 2 teaspoons or so of the oil of your choice, or you can use Earth Balance, whichever. Usually the more oil you use obviously isn't the best for you, but it will taste the best as far as this dish goes. So you're just gonna go ahead and stir that around. And I would say you wanna cook this for about 3 to 5 minutes when you're stir frying it. So we'll go ahead and let that time pass, and we'll be right back. So it's been about 5 minutes now. We're gonna go ahead and add in the kimchi juice that we saved earlier. So I've got that over here. Let's see if I can bring it over and not spill it all over the place. Sweet, so yeah, add that in. And then with that, you're gonna wanna put in some gochugaru, which is hot pepper flakes. Now, if you don't want it any spicier, you can actually skip both of these ingredients here, but I think this kind of amplifies the flavor and makes it just a tiny bit spicier. But if you're dealing with super spicy kimchi already, then you don't have to. But this is about maybe almost a spoonful. And then you want to do the same for the gochujang, which is the fermented red pepper paste, which doesn't look very red because I have a shadow over it right now. But yeah, you can kind of see it a little bit better in this light. Not very focused, but there we go. Add that in as well. Just kind of stir it around to get it off your spoon. Okay, so while that's going, you're gonna go ahead and get your garlic powder, which, what did I put? Over here. And I don't really measure, but depends on how much you like garlic. I would say between 1 to 2 teaspoons or so. Maybe that's more than that, I don't know. I like garlic, so I don't mind. Yeah, you're gonna stir that in as well. Everything's getting really nice and bubbly. Smells really, 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 really good. Okay, so once that's mixed, you're gonna just add in a little bit of either a soy sauce, tamari, namashoyu, or liquid aminos, which is what I've got today. And I just say like a squirt. So if you have a bottle, literally just squirt it once. That's about all you'll need. Stir that in. And then once you've done that, you're gonna go ahead and add in the broth / soup stock that you made earlier. So I've got mine chilling over here. And once it reduced down, it made like 500 ml. So pour that in. And I just want to bring this to a boil, and we'll be right back. So now that it's at a boil, we're going to go ahead and add in 2 more ingredients. Now these 2 ingredients are optional. If you don't have them or if you don't want to use them, you don't have to. In this jar here is mushroom seasoning. It's the vegetarian seasoning by Vegahope. Mushroom seasoning, I'm going to use about a spoonful, is really good to kind of add like that meatiness quality. It's really rich, so it kind of gives you kind of like the flavor of maybe having meat in your dish, kind of, but not really. I don't know, it just tastes really good and amplifies the flavor of whatever you put in it by like tenfold. So mix that in. And then also I'm going to put in just a little bit of agave nectar, or you can use whatever sweetener that you want to. Totally optional, you don't have to, but my kimchi is well fermented, so a little sweetener goes a long way here. Just a little drizzle. Okay, so we're going to mix that in. And next you're going to add in your tofu. Now I'm using puff tofu for the first time today, but typically you want to use like the regular block tofu, like a medium or firm block. So I'm going to grab that right now. So this is what we're working with. This is puff tofu. I kind of have it open on a flap here. Let me see if I can get it so you guys can see. Looks like that on the inside. I made a video on this the other day when I went to the Asian market, and we're just gonna drop it all in. Okay, so we've got all those in there. Just want to mix them in. Get them all coated in the juice. And then I'm just going to add in one more thing just because I have it around the house, but you definitely don't have to add this. I'm going to put in some rice cakes, and I'm going to show you the package of those. Let me go get them real quick. So this is a Korean rice cake, usually used in a dish called tteokbokki, and they're just made from like rice and water, basically rice, water, and salt, I believe. And they're these like little cylinder things. Let me just drop a few in so you can see what I'm talking about. They look like these little cylinder things. I'm just gonna put a few of those in. They're just made out of rice, but they have a really like nice, chewy consistency to them, and they're really good in this. So I'm gonna put in just a couple more, but you definitely don't have to. And typically I think like a regular block of tofu gives you more tofu than I got from the puff tofu. So usually there's a little bit more tofu in there in that. So that's why I'm kind of using some rice cakes to give it something extra. And then go ahead and mix everything in. And we're just gonna put a lid on this and let it go for about 10 minutes on like medium-low heat. After about 10 minutes, this is what it's looking like, guys. It's coming together really nicely. Gotta stir it really well. I didn't really accomplish that because the rice cakes are sticking a little bit, but it should be fine. So once it's pretty much at this stage, what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut up some scallions. Got some right over here. This is about 1 bundle with the roots removed because I used the roots earlier to make the stock. So I'm gonna chop those up and add those in right now. So mix in your scallions that you just chopped up. And what you're going to do is you're going to turn the heat off now. Okay, so heat's going off. And then what you're going to do at the very end, I like to do this anyways, you don't have to, but a little bit of organic sesame oil just for the flavor. Just a tiny bit. Mix that in and you are ready to serve this. Looks so good. This will serve about 2 people if you're just having this by itself, but if you've got a bunch of side dishes or something, you probably can stretch this out to about maybe 3 to 4. Alright, I'm going to get a bowl and we'll be right back. There you have it, guys. Kimchi stew, also known as Kimchi Jjigae. I like to eat this with rice. I like to just spoon some of it over the rice and eat it like that. Sometimes I'll take like one of these seaweed wrappers and just go like this and pick up some rice, eat it that way. But it all tastes really good together, and I hope you guys have a chance to make this. Go out and make some stew, and I will see you guys next time.